other part of this, and we can transition to handheld if you want. I understand what this is an Xbox is after the showcase and after getting hands on with the the Xbox Ally X and all of that, because like it or not, grab your pitchforks, do whatever you personally want to do. They are now putting games on multiple platforms. And the one thing I was talking about with them Sunday night is I was very happy to see that they had proper branding of all these games. You knew what platforms they were going to be on. You knew if they were going to be in Game Pass. You knew if they were going to be Xbox Play Anywhere. They were very clear, because one of my big critiques of Xbox for a while has been communication, that I think they could have done a better job. And I thought they were pretty crystal clear with that this year, that yeah, you're going to play it on Xbox. This game will be on PlayStation. This game could be on Switch. You can get this one on PC, Game Pass, all of that, right? So you know where you get to choose where you want to play your games. This is where Xbox is headed. I understand not everybody's on board with it. I'm still a little, like, when we see Halo on PlayStation, I'm still going to think it's weird. But that's just me. But yeah, the point that I'm making on that is you get to choose now. They're making about player choice moving forward. So if you want to continue to play on Xbox, do it. Play on PC, do it. Play on PlayStation, do it. It's up to you how you want to interact and play these games. So bringing that to the Xbox Ally X, yeah, I got hands-on with it. I got to sit in a couple different presentations for it. So I got to see all the changes that they're making to Windows, right? To you literally, because my big critique for a while has been why I prefer the Steam Deck, Steam OS. I press the button, I'm instantly presented my games, I can go play them. You weren't necessarily able to do that on these Windows handhelds, right? There was, It would force you to go to the desktop to update it, do all this tinkering. The button controls and joysticks couldn't control everything, it was cumbersome. So the presentation I was on is they're addressing all of that. They're making it, when you turn it on, you're instantly in the Xbox app. You have access to all your games, Game Pass, your entire library, all these things. Everything can be controlled with the joysticks and the buttons, right? Typing in your passwords, navigating through all the menus, all of that. You're never forced to leave that Xbox app to access your games. The one thing, because I had additional conversations talking with Jason Ronald about this, the one critique that they still admit they need to figure out is, okay, you're going to be able to add Steam, the Epic Store, GOG, all these things. Yep. But right now, you will have to leave to a desktop experience to go install those things. So then now they're synced into your library. They still want to figure that out. They also want to figure out when you have to do Windows updates, that it's not kicking you out of that experience, so that unless you want to go tinker, unless you choose to leave the Xbox experience, it is always just there for you front and center. So that's why they didn't want us taking videos and screenshots of all that because it's still a work in progress. And they obviously, even when the Ally X comes out, they're going to continue to iterate on it. That's why it'll be into 2026 before you're going to be able to have that experience on other devices. If you want to build a PC, you want to run your Legion Go X, stuff like that, because they want to make sure they get this right first, which again is why I think the rumors about them not doing their own handheld or delaying it or pausing it makes sense. You got to get the Windows experience right first, because clearly this is where Xbox is going for their next generation hardware. You're seeing the alpha.
The iceberg, man.
You're seeing the alpha version of that right now.
Yes.
But with all that said, getting hands-on with it, it felt really good in the hands. It felt very comfortable in the hands. It wasn't too heavy. Felt good. I got to check out both the Ally X, which is the black one. I also got to check out the white one, which is the Ally, which is, the 720p version. Felt good holding the hands. I got to play Gears of War Reloaded. Got to play it a couple times. Gears of War Reloaded on there. It was good. Performance was great on it. No issues at all. Controls felt good on it. I'm bracing for impact when it comes to price on all this stuff, but I like what I see so far. I know there was, some words, because I've been at Summer Game Fest, but I was made aware of some controversy of the fact that I said this is going to lead the way for the future of handhelds. And I stick with that, because the limitation of Steam OS is Steam OS. You're on Linux.
Right.
Windows opens up so much more, multiple digital stores that you're able to access all at once. Anti-cheat, so you can play Fortnite and Destiny and all these things. Call of Duty, because you can't play Call of Duty on the Steam Deck right now on Steam OS.
That's
stuff
true.
like that. So this just opens up more player choice, more options to you if they're able to properly optimize this, which from what I've seen and what I got to play so far, this was a great first step towards that. So I'm excited for it later this year, to see that. Like I said, price is going to be the big barrier to entry to getting this. But I think the strategy of partnering with ASUS, let's get the Windows experience right. Let's work with them to get the hardware for what we think works for our player base. And then you can expand that beyond to other vendors. And obviously, we're going to get to a point where you can just build your own. You can install it you build a PC, you install Windows on it. You can have that experience on your own desktop PC as well. So, like I said, this is where I think it's going. And one other thing before I forget, what I loved was when you're in the Xbox Experience Library, they already showed, you can bring in you can clearly see your Steam games, your Battle.net games, GOG games, right? And you can play them directly from there. The two other things that they're doing, or the other thing that they're doing is right now, on Steam OS, you have Steam Deck verified, right? So it is optimized for a handheld. They're going to have a similar badge for that on this at Xbox Ally X as well. So that's something else that they're working on. So again, it was so funny being able to talk to that team that a lot of the things that we talk about, they're talking about it too. They know. It's like they already know. So when we got to that presentation, they're just going down the checklist of things that us as gamers want from a Windows handheld that they've either already implemented or it is on the list to get implemented. So I was pretty excited about it. I was pretty pleased with it. Like I said, just overall with the showcase, I thought it was solid. A lot of good games. I mean, obviously Clockwork Revolution, I think, stood out the most from games that they showed there. It was funny. I got a chance to talk to Matt Booty about all the games that I'm like, why are you cramming all these games into October? Right. And I'll just say the highlight of what he explained is they just got too much. They can't keep pushing stuff back and all around. At some point, you just got to go. And that's why you're seeing all the, like, they got a 3-week period of games coming out in October, right? And it's just, we got to go. We got to put them out because they have so many plans for 2026 with games that you don't want to just keep pushing it, kicking the can down the road, so to speak, right? So great conversations, with Xbox leadership on, where they're trying to take Xbox. And, they understand that a lot of us on the outside looking in see some of these aggressive changes as very weird and, like disruptive to
polarizing to some people that do have this very high mark for brand loyalty. And if you're upset, again, if you're upset, I'm not going to fight against anybody. I understand why you would be like you, Paris. I've come to the middle of the road. Like, okay, this is what they're doing. I would have never done this, but I understand why. But you know what? Game Pass. I'm still winning.
Yeah. And let me say this, because like I said, I saw the really dumb comment that came out yesterday that I guess I don't look at this stuff, but I guess went all over the place. I do think Xbox Game Pass, play anywhere in the cloud, is the future of gaming. You may not like that I think that, but that's what I think. I've yet to be proven wrong.
That's the reality.
I think, I mean,
I've yet to be proven wrong.
What you're saying is absolutely the truth. But just the thing on it I want to add to you and ask you and then everybody else is for the Steam and I guess GOG and Epic Store, all those type of implementations. Couldn't they have it where it's implemented and you click on it and it just opens up the app for Steam like you would, in general? Maybe they could do it that way.
Well, think about this. I know what you're saying, but what they're doing is they're saying you don't have to go do that. They're saying you can stay in the Xbox app.
Right.
There will be a badge on that game. Clear. Let me just a random example. I have Hades 2 on Steam. Hades 2 would show up in that Xbox library labeled as a Steam game. I would click Hades 2 and I'm just playing Hades 2. Now, this is where I say again, it is up to you. If you want to launch Steam or launch the Epic Store or whatever to interact with that game, you'll be able to do it. But now it's going to pull up a desktop mode. You're going to have to go through it that way because you'll be able to essentially go into Windows and treat it like a Windows desktop, which again, and I think obviously this is news is out there, but that's the other thing in the presentation. They are turning off unnecessary resources when you're in the Xbox experience. So the desktop, as an example, is turned off. And the non-essential resources that aren't prioritized for gaming, they've already freed up 2 gigabytes of memory by doing that. So you would imagine that performance is going to be better as well in Windows. So they understand that. Better performance, power management, all these things that they're trying to optimize and get ready, obviously, by this holiday, when that hardware comes out. Because again, people need to remember this optimized Windows Xbox experience is only going to be on the Xbox Ally this holiday. It won't be until 2026 where you'll be able to see that on other devices.
By the way, Paris, just to throw it out there for everybody, this one, pricing, as you just mentioning the pricing, because that is going to be really important.
Yeah.
What would you guys say? Because this is a Z2. This is not a Z1. Z2's now.
I'm thinking like
Z2 Extreme with an NPU chip as well. So it's doing it. The X1 has an AI chip as well. I'll just say, and I didn't mean to cut anyone off because I'd said this to Jez earlier. I'm bracing for $899 and $699.
I'm thinking you're right. That's exactly where I'm at.
I was thinking $799, but $899. Wow.
For you. What about you, Jamie? What would you say?
800.
Yeah, I'm $799.99, $800. That's my thought.
The only way they can come under that is if Microsoft subsidizes it.
Yeah,
I doubt that's going to happen though.
I don't think they are.
I think the subsidizing of consoles and hardware that's yesteryear, man. That's not happening.
Here's what I think. I think there's a better chance that the 720p with the white one gets a little bit of subsidy to it to lower the price on that. But I think the X, I don't see it. I can see that being $900 to $1,000.
That's going to be,
and I don't say that wanting it to be that. I'm just trying to be realistic.
Nobody wants to pay $1,000 for a handheld.
It's going to be the enthusiast device, basically. If you will.
A hardcore device, because honestly, you could probably get the white one and be fine with it. I'm not getting that. I'm going for the black version, the X version, because I want all the power possible.
Hey, well, I just want to say,
so can I say this too?
Always bet on black. I'm just going to throw it out there.
So if I can say this too, just going back to Gears of War Reloaded, because like I said, I got to play it on the Ally X, but I also had a session where we got to play it on the Ally X. We got to play it on the original Rogue Ally as well, PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. And Danny and I, we got so into it because he was on the PlayStation 5, I was on the Xbox, and we were just doing co-op. We got so into it that they literally had to kick us out. They're like, this isn't a preview event.
Oh my God, that is so cool, dude. I love to hear it. Love to hear it.
I'm telling you, I'm sure you've already seen some of the stuff that's been out there. The visual upgrade, because they were showing the comparison to what it looked like in 06 to what it is now. Our brains don't make us realize that's how blurry it looked back then. But to see it now in 4K, running, high frames, all that, it looked really good. And I'm telling you, it's funny to think if Gears of War, the original, if it came out today, just as what we played, it'd sell like hotcakes. You would have like, this game is so amazing. That's how fun that was to play Reloaded. So I'm really excited for August when it comes out. All the crossplay stuff they're doing with PlayStation and across devices and everywhere with Play Anywhere and all that. It's going to be great. I will predict right now that Gears of War Reloaded will be a big seller on PlayStation 5 because I think we're going to get a lot of people that are going to be playing it for the first time and they're going to get hooked.
I wish I'd have did them all that way. Part 2 and 3 had done them that.
Well,
I mean, like when they came out with Gears of War Ultimate Edition in 2015, like this is what we have now. It's 4K, it's 60, it's got all like the extra bits and bobs. It's a remaster. This new one, it's a remaster of the 2015 remake. But I played this last year, and the thing that was holding it back was it was 30 frames per second. And it was 1080p. And when you play that on a 4K television, it's not that
looks
good.
a little
It
like
plays
blurry.
great still, but like we were basically before the Xbox Series X came out, we were showing this like little clip of Gears of War Ultimate Edition running in 4K, but it was like it was test footage and all that stuff, and we never got that update. So like Reloaded is essentially a next gen port of Ultimate Edition, but it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Paris, again, it was great to hang out with you. Thank you so much for stopping by. I don't know if you want to hang out because we're going to continue the conversation regarding the handheld, and we're going to move on to Mr. PCMR himself, Ally Umbra, as it were. So, Paris, again, if you can hang out, brother, that's awesome. If you got to bounce because you got other.
I did have some more questions for him on the handheld.
No, go for it. I got a few more minutes. I can hang out for
that's awesome. So I'm going to hand the mic over to Umbra. Umbra, obviously, I want to get your thoughts, your theories about the handheld, the reveal. But I'd like you also to pose those questions to Paris. Maybe he can answer a few questions that you have for him.
Yes. Now, this is our second topic, right? Boom. I didn't want to derail us if this wasn't the
No, it's the second topic. So
okay,
go for it, brother.
Okay, so aside from pricing, we know what that's going to be. We kind of have an idea for that. We have an idea for availability. Now, this is obviously, like you said, it's leading to the future of where they're going with the whole play anywhere, having all the titles. It is beautiful that Xbox gamers can troll again after losing some exclusivity, where they can say, "Hey, I got your PlayStation games on my Ally," right? So that's funny. But when would you say they're going to roll out the whole OEM situation where they're going to allow for this, basically this Windows, I guess Xbox UI to be rolled out into other devices to implement it the same way that the Ally is doing here?
Yeah, they said I was told the target is 2026.
Maybe the end of it, because I would imagine
I don't know
has a year,
beginning, middle, end. They just told me 2026.
Okay, because I'm thinking maybe they'll have at least a year of exclusivity at the very least, being a partnership. You're right. I would think, because one other question. Now I saw some you had IGN Live. I'm only bringing this up because I know some people were like, some people didn't seem that excited about it. Some people saw IGN Live and they were like, the people look, they cheered at first until they saw ROG, and then they stopped cheering, which they did. But to me, it signaled confusion. Do you think that maybe part of the revisions that they need to do here with the ROG Ally, and that's another thing too, the naming. You said it the way I say it, which is Xbox Ally X, and I just shortened it to XAX for short. But do you think maybe they need to make sure that they get that naming right, as well as maybe, because I kind of saw the ROG symbol there and thought, why not put the Xbox symbol there, or at least the Xbox name or something next to the ROG, so people won't be confused? Because people look confused to me in those audiences.
Couple things. So when we were in our session, ASUS was there as well. So they gave us a whole presentation of the partnership and how all this went down. You have to remember, it's a partnership specifically with ASUS, so they're going to want their branding on their hardware. It just makes sense, because at some point in time, Lenovo is going to do one, MSI is going to do one, etc. Right? They're going to want their branding on it too. So even that Xbox button, it was originally pitched like, can we have a circle, the normal round circle X on there? And ASUS was like, that's not how we make our hardware. So that's why you see it that way. So I get your question, but yeah, they pretty much answered it. That part of the partnership is that their partners are going to want their branding, as a part of this as well. I mean, the name doesn't really bother me, in the simple fact that it's going to get shortened now. Hey, you're just going to call it the Xbox Ally or whatever, and you're going to see other ones come out eventually as well, as far as hardware partners go. So, this is what it is.
I guess if I had to ask on anything else, do you think Microsoft will possibly only allow for certain builds of a device to put that UI into the UX for the user experience?
I don't know. It is Windows 11 Home, the OS that's running on there, but it's Windows, so I would assume this is just simply something that you would roll out as an update. And if you're just a normal desktop user, you would have to just go in and enable if that's what you want. I don't know. There's still a lot of conversations that need to be had about that. Because I've already requested to do that later this year. Because there's still some unanswered stuff.
Okay, and I know it was like a kind of a super secret thing where they had you guys, certain select people go back there and I guess play with the device, or if you will. Yeah, well, I guess,
let me say this. Let me say this. I want to go back to something you said about IGN Live, and I saw the little stupid meme about all that stuff. It's like, to your point, it's something brand new that people are seeing. So there might have been confusion at front. Don't let social media cloud you. And if you give me just a second of grace here, I want to address this because Boom,
no, please.
The fact that we were in person together,
yes,
this kind of highlights the point. Like I said before, the in-person social media is not real life. It's just not. People put on a character online. Yeah. People are very different in person than they act online. I see BT Maverick in the chat. I got to meet him. Great guy. Loved conversations that I had with him. I even got to meet one of my haters in person. And when I did, the energy was completely different in person. Oh, no. It's not like that, blah, 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 blah. So it's like, then why do you do that then? You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So when you see people do these stupid memes and the clips and the screenshots and all that, it is a cry for attention because they don't act this way in real life. When we were at that community event, when we were hanging out at the JW and all that, it was all love. There's no drama. Everyone's just having a good time. We're talking gaming. We're celebrating all that. Look, PlayStation people hanging with Xbox people, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. Because that's how it should be, and that's how it is in real life. So, to your point about that clip that came from IGN Live, whatever. That's just a moment in time that someone's just using it to get attention with.
Is this a thing? Is this going to be a reoccurring theme where you bully people who come to LA and they cower?
I'm not a bully. I'm not a bully.
He's a gentleman of a man. I can assure you.
Yeah. That's the whole point again.
Is that what it is?
No, it's not. No, it's not that at all. It's my point is when you meet people in person, it's because I did talk to this person. I'm like, really? So you give me a bunch of grief online, but then you're telling me that's not real. Yeah. So then why do you do it?
Well, yeah.
What was their answer? I'm actually curious to that.
The answer was essentially, I see other people saying stuff, so I'm just adding in my 2 cents, for lack of a better term.
Okay, that's pretty stupid of them.
Keyboard cowards, I like to call them. Sorry.
Well, I'm joking, of course, with the bullying. I know you're a gentleman, but I'm saying only in the sense of your presence makes them like start to correct their attitude. But
as
it is funny. It seems to be a reoccurring thing. It's just kind of funny. I did see you towering over everyone in people's images. I'm like, look at there. I'm like, I'm on his side, and I still might be like, hey, brother, how are you? I'm on your side already, but yeah.
No, but to the point, I know you're just joking, but just to that point, there's none of that in person. Everything is hugs and love in person, as it should be.
It was awesome, man. It was, again, it's the excitement. It's, you know what it is? I think everyone at these live events really do shed their console skin, and it's just about people and the games. Like, no, yes. I didn't see any conversation, not once. And I talked to hundreds of people to the point where I nearly lost my voice doing it. Like I tell you, every night I was downing the Airbornes and the Echinacea and vitamin C to make sure I didn't get sick. My voice was, by the time I got back to New York, my voice was nearly gone. Like, it was gone. That's how many people I talked to. And of course I was very excited and I was very animated, like hip hop gamer I couldn't match his tenacity if I tried. And King David, everybody that was there.
It was a lot of New York energy right there. You're going to have
It was a lot of fun, man. It was, again, it's like right now, we was, Jamie actually said it, Paris and Umbra, as a gamer, I don't know how you can't be excited about what just happened. Either of the shows, for that matter. It's just something there for everyone. And like I said, the cherry on top of the sundae was this handheld. And like I said, the handheld, if you are, and I'll say this to everybody in the chat, and which, by the way, 1,723 people watching this show live. That is complete madness. Obviously, we have a good bunch of people, 1.2K on Twitter watching live. So thank you to everyone that's there. If you're not subscribed already, folks, hit us up and help us get to 17K, because that is now the next trek. And of course, over 500 people watching live on YouTube. We do appreciate it. But I mean, listen, again, this handheld is for people like me. Like I said, the PCMR already do this with their Steam Decks and their Lenovo's and their Legion Go's and everything like that. But because this thing is going to essentially be an Xbox handheld and you never have to leave that screen, this is why I'm going to buy it, because it's exactly what I want. I don't need to tinker. I don't like that. I'm not a PC guy. I never will be. But this thing is just a step in the right direction. And I got to tell you, when I say the title of the show is the ROG Ally Xbox has literally changed the game forever, it has. Because again, what this is a preview for is what their next Xbox is going to be. I don't know what the PlayStation 6 is going to be. If I had to be a guessing guy, I think the PlayStation 6 is going to be incredibly powerful, and it's going to have everything you know and love about a PlayStation. Here's the problem. It's going to be a PlayStation 5 with incredible, massive power. So it's going to be the PS6. I don't think they're going to have an open source box. Xbox is doing that. And when they do that, for me, if this box is as powerful as Sarabon says it's going to be, I won't need to buy a PlayStation 6 because I'll buy all my PlayStation games on Steam. And I have now become a Steam customer, which I am currently not.
But see, if I could say one thing on here, and I'll
sure.
gracefully exit. I don't want to take too much time from your show. To your point about that, I know it's online. People like to console war and do all that stuff, but it's really three different approaches to get you to play games, right? Nintendo clearly has their approach. PlayStation has their approach, and Xbox has obviously pivoted into this approach of player choice, multiple devices, all of that. There's no right or wrong answer. It's what you want to go do. At the end of the day, that's what baffles me more about anything, that you see people constantly arguing back and forth about this, writing 20-page AI novels online about which one is better. Neither one is better. They're whatever you want it to be. Is your money. You spend and play what you want. Yeah. Trust me, I love PlayStation. I'm on PlayStation all the time playing games because there's games on PlayStation I like to play. There's games on Xbox I like to play. I got a Switch too. There's games on the Switch I like to play. I got a PC. I play on everything. But it's what I want to do.
Right.
Same with you or anybody in the chat right now. Play where you want. If you don't like Xbox's approach, then don't play on Xbox. Go play on PlayStation or vice versa. It's up to you.
Great point of view, man. Indeed. Great point of view. But Paris, brother, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day. I know that you got to be wrecked because you were there a day after I was, and you were. I was in LA since I was working two weeks straight, traveling. Literally got off the plane, went to Summer Game Fest on Friday, and I just came home late last night. So yeah, and it doesn't end. I bet.
Summer Game Fest was spectacular, by the way, for me. Like I said, there's so many good games that are coming to Xbox. I'm not even just looking at Xbox's showcase. I'm looking at Summer Game Fest. Heck,
everyone had a really good show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like everything we saw largely is going to everything. So I don't think you could be any happier, honestly. And what Paris was secretly signifying to our Xbox guys is once you get this Ally X here for Xbox, get all the PlayStation games and rub it in their face. No, I'm joking.
How dare you, console war, sir? How dare
I couldn't let him leave clean. I couldn't do it.
Oh my goodness. Well, listen, Paris, enjoy the rest of your day, brother. Catch up with some rest, man. Go get yourself your batteries recharged. I did a really good gym session today. I feel really, really strong, and I'm glad I took yesterday off because I was a wreck.
No, yeah. Get some rest yourself. Again, it was great to see you. Yes, Umbra, I heard you. It sounds like you might be trying to come next year.
He better be there. We need to see this man.
Definitely hoping to come next year. I know it's going to be crazy next year. It's going to be a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's going to be great. All right, well, thank you, gentlemen, for having me on, and have a great rest of the show.
Yeah, brother. Thank you so much again.
Get some rest too.
Catch you later, man.
All right, so Umbra, anything else you would like to add to the handheld conversation that you weren't able to either ask Paris or you didn't talk about already?
I'm trying to think of a few things. I think maybe Jamie could probably come up with something because a lot of what I'm asking here. We've had conversations in the Discord. The biggest point is the price, right? Like that's the biggest sticking point. I think we all kind of come to a conclusion that it's going to be pricey. I wonder how many people, Xbox folks, would be willing to jump onto that. And then I have to wonder about next gen. How pricey is that going to be?
And those are really phenomenal questions. I would imagine that if the price wasn't going to be sticker shock, like Paris had said originally, we would have known the price already.
That's true.
I really think they would have been like, okay, this is, because we know it's coming out this year. I would imagine that it's going to be coming out in the fall holiday. Makes sense, right? You put out a new piece of hardware. It's a lot of people are going to buy it. People are spending money during the holiday. It makes sense, right? We don't know what the price is. You think 9. Paris thinks 9. Me and Jamie are on the same board. We think 8. Let's get your thoughts and your theories on the handheld, because again, there was, first of all, again, shout out to Microsoft and the team. Nothing leaked, and you said that in the opening. Nothing leaked. I had no idea. Now, was I hoping that this would be here? Of course I was, and it wound up being true. Now, of course, I also suggested that if they showed this, maybe they show the V3, but that didn't happen. But I got to tell you, this is, yes, it's going to be expensive, but what it really does, especially when it comes to the Xbox UI, my biggest problem, Jamie, with these handhelds, and it's because I'm not a PC guy, I'm not a knucklehead. I understand what it takes, and I can download, can side load different things and put ROMs. I can do all of that myself. I just don't want to do that because I'm not a PC guy. This ROG Ally Xbox seems like it's right up the alley. Now, granted, it's probably going to be pricey, but the fact that you can stay with this UI when you turn it on and it acts, looks, and plays like an Xbox sounds amazing. I cannot wait to get hands-on. Let's get your thoughts about it, the reveal, and some other expectations of what you're hoping this brings to the gaming space.
I've had some time to think about this, and Epic Store gives away free games all the time.
I have like 30 of them that I downloaded and never played.
Yeah, so as I was saying before the show went live, I play 2 games on PC, one of which can't come to console, and I wish it could. That's a Homeworld Remastered Collection. My God, I love that game. So I've claimed every free game I've seen on the Epic Store for like years now, and I have no intention of playing them. I have over 300 games on the Epic Store. I haven't paid a penny for any of those games. I've got Control. I've got the Fallout games. I've got dozens and dozens of AAA games. I've got Death Stranding, the original version, on the Epic Store, right?
Wow.
So, like, from a console centric point of view, right? This ROG handheld is not aimed at me, right? However, if you look at a lot of Xbox gamers that play first party titles such as Play Anywhere titles, and you play a Call of Duty, Halo, you maybe want to dabble in some Warcraft, like this is going to be a device for you, because whereas I would like to see a native Xbox handheld where I could play my 360 games, my OG games, my Xbox One games, right? I think that will come. I think they're going to use this as a stepping point. I think they're going to learn from this. It's going to be a pricey console or a pricey handheld, because the way I see it is that, if people go into this like ROG Xbox Ally handheld or whatever they want to call it and think it's going to be like $300, I have a bridge to sell them. Right? Because these handhelds are pricey, but the way I see it is that, PC gaming for the longest time, if you've wanted to game on the go, you've had really one option before the Steam Deck came out, and it was overpriced gaming laptops.
Yeah.
Right? A gaming laptop in the UK is costing in between 2.5 to 3 grand.
Jesus.
That's pounds, right? So we're talking like $4,000, right? So the way I see it is that these new handhelds started with the Steam Deck. There's a bunch of different other ones now. Like if you're a PC gamer, you have a portable device to get now that isn't going to break the bank.
Right.
So like the ROG Ally is one of those other things. Like my mate has an ROG Ally. He bloody loves the thing. Doesn't stop talking about the thing. And like if you play a lot of Xbox games, a lot of Xbox Game Pass games, this is going to be an avenue for them. But another way I see it is, from Microsoft's point of view, is that it's kind of what happened about 25 years ago. You know, when Microsoft first heard that the PlayStation 2 was going to get a DVD player built in, they basically crapped themselves and thought, oh my God, Sony's going to take over the living room. So they came out with the Xbox, right? Which had media features such as the DVD player and being able to rip your music onto the console and even use it in certain video games like WWE War 2 as entrance music. That was such a cool feature. So I think they're doing the same thing now, but with other vendors, because you have Steam OS, which is now going to be able to go to other different devices outside of the Steam Deck. And Microsoft doesn't want people downloading Steam OS on their console. That's why you have Microsoft trying to get this Xbox centric version of Windows be able to perform better for video games. So the way I see it is like, yeah, Xbox PC is the branding. Microsoft wants people to associate Xbox with PC as well as the consoles, because like the console user base, they are console based. They don't really care that much. Maybe they'll dabble if like a first party game is available or whatever. But for the most part, like PC gamers, they're going to want to have the freedom to choose what they want to buy games on. That's why whenever a game is available on like Epic Store, people lose their minds. So like, you're going to be able to use Steam, Epic, GOG, all that stuff, which is great. Microsoft wants gamers to associate their OS with gaming on PC, because Microsoft doesn't want anyone to use that bloody thing, Steam OS. So, like, I think, in the long run, this is going to benefit Microsoft when it comes to, like, getting PC associated with Xbox and Xbox associated with PC. But I think that, if you're a console player, I think, you're going to get your fancy next-gen console. You're going to get your native Xbox handheld next generation. So, for me, I'm not necessarily interested in the ROG Xbox thing. Obviously, I will cover it, but it's not necessarily for me. I'm a console player. I think it's a really cool device. I like the design of it. I think it looks very comfortable. It's super powerful, and I think this is it. I think this thing's going to be about $800 around that. I actually just checked the price of the ROG Ally X, so not the 2 and not the fancy new one. It's $799 at the minute, right? £799. I want to say that's about $1,100. So,
wow.
So in the UK, I apologize, you're going to go bankrupt, but I think I think this device is really cool. I think it's exciting. I think that if you go back 6-7 years ago, and you'd ask who's in the handheld space outside of Nintendo, I would say no one. But now you have tons of different companies getting into it. You have Microsoft, which is going to make their own first-party hardware. You have PlayStation, which is rumored to make a new PlayStation handheld. So, like, I think if anything, this piece of hardware just proves how interesting gaming is at the minute. So while it isn't necessarily for me, and if Microsoft does want to send a review console out, I'll be happy to review it. But I think that if anything, it proves how interesting the gaming landscape is at the minute.
I think options are great. This is definitely a hardcore device, Jamie and Umbra. Is it going to be for everyone? No, it is not for you, as you said, and that's okay. It is for Ally Umbra, and it's definitely for me. Do I do a lot of on-the-go gaming? I do not. I very rarely travel, and when I do, I bring my Switch. Now I'll bring my Switch too. But if I have a ROG Ally Xbox, and I can download the games and to the hard drive, which I think the X version has a 1 terabyte drive. You put all your games there. You better play all your games on through Game Pass. If you want to take this thing, I'm sure there's going to be a dock for it.
Yeah,
you're going to be able to dock this to your TV. And what this does for me personally is, again, I don't know how you're going to move from this screen to Steam, to Good Old Games, to Epic, And then once you download those games from those different launchers, you go back to your Xbox screen, and just all of those games are just in your library. If that's how it's going to be, that's going to be great. And and again, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Right now, I am currently not a Steam customer. I download games for free from Epic because they give them for free. I've never played any of them. I have a boatload of them. I have occasionally Steam has these ridiculous sales. And like I keep using it as reference, it was true. I think I paid $8.99 for the entire Resident Evil series. Like, how do you not buy that? I've never played any of them, but for $10, sign me up.
W, yeah.
Right. So again, this device is just the beginning, guys and chat. I really think that maybe it's not for everyone. What this really does clear up, Umbra and Jamie and chat, very simply, is that what you're seeing here in its infancy, right? This is the first attempt by Xbox to really bring the platform to PC and make it more accessible for guys like me. That next box that's coming out in 2027, and some people say fiscal 27, which is early or late 26. Again, tomatoes, we'll see. But if by some chance in the fiscal 26 that this console shows up, it is going to be exactly what we've all imagined it to be. It's going to be an Xbox. It's going to play all of your games, every one of them that you own, and it's going to allow you to play games from all of the different libraries. And I think that world that has been pitched with this handheld and imagined with the next generation hardware, again, this is not console war related conversation that we're having. I will not be buying a PlayStation 6. Why? Why won't? Am I console warring? No, I won't need to. I will. I'm telling you right now, I don't have it as proof of concept as of yet, and I wasn't a fly on the wall at Sony headquarters. But when Microsoft officially unveiled this, I'm telling you right now, Sony was like, "We need to do something because we need to put our games." Any thoughts and theories? Again, this is my opinion about waiting and doing PlayStation first and then PC next and then maybe Switch later. I think that all of that waiting gets thrown out the window, and you're going to see them make some pretty big decisions in the next 12 months to get those games day and date on PC and maybe other platforms because they're going to need to. Otherwise, they're going to get left behind.